Hi, and welcome to this week's video blog post. My name is John Whitehead. This week, I want to talk to you about interpersonal communication skills. My work as a coach primarily focuses around behaviors and how people can shift the behaviors to be more effective leaders. My mission statement is, in fact, to help leaders lead. And one of the things that I find in my coaching world, coaching work, is that interpersonal communications becomes one of the things that bubbles very quickly to the surface. And so what I do is I use a number of tools, but one of them is called social styles from Traycom. And one of the reasons I love that model is because it is very, very simple, easy to use, and easy to understand. In fact, I did a workshop this past week in this community where there were 6 individuals, all social workers working in a fairly tight team. They had some new members come on board, and one of the things that they were struggling with was how to communicate with one another. Sometimes they were missing. I often say, have you been in situations where people are saying ABC and you hear XYZ and you go, how the heck did that happen? Well, that's because we're missing those communications, aren't we? One person is saying A, the other person is hearing X. And so what I try and do is I try and get people, first of all, to understand themselves, who they are, how they prefer to behave, if you will, what behavioral neighborhood that they live in. And then once they get a sense of who they are and what neighborhood they like to live in, where they feel home, I give them some cues. I give them a tool that they're able then to, over time, but with pretty well certainty, recognize where other people's neighborhoods are, where they like to live, how they prefer to behave, how they prefer to communicate, and more importantly, how they prefer to be communicated to. So if I've got an individual that I'm talking to, and that I understand that they're, pretty analytical, that I recognize that what they want is details, I'm going to try and give them the details. But if I recognize that the person is very results orientated, then I'm going to give few details and just get to the bottom line with them. And in about an hour, I can take some people through a process. And the feedback I get almost always, if I'm talking to somebody a week or so afterwards, or an email communication that I get, is that they're talking about the process the next day, the next week, 2 weeks. They're remembering it, they're using it. And so the point that I would like to make in today's video blog is that it starts with knowing yourself. Once you get to know yourself, once you can figure out yourself and who you are, and not necessarily, you don't have to get into why you're behaving. It's not getting into the psychological weeds of that. It's just recognizing that, this is how I tend to behave. And this is how I tend to communicate. And once I understand that, that's the first step. So it's John Whitehead. Thank you for watching this week. And if you've got any questions, comments, please feel free to make them and I'll respond to them. Thank you and have a great week.